All right, hello everybody, and welcome back to Command. And we've got another tournament game for you from our March Vassal month-long tournament. From round one, we've got another matchup on the same mission. So we're running this tournament more like a real in-person tournament, where each round we're going to have the same players are all playing the same mission each round. So round one, everybody played Watch Your Step. Round two, everybody played, I believe it was Propaganda War on Krrsantan back alleys. We're actually currently on round three, which is going to be the final round of Swiss and doing a cut to top four. And once again, the players are playing for a set of custom dice from the CustomMeeple. So there is some prizes at stake for this tournament. And in this matchup, we're going to get to see, again, another round one matchup between Christian and Cyklop, a new player to IACP. I don't know how new he is to Skirmish, but he's definitely showing some proficiency for the game. But I do know he is new to the IACP project. I believe he started playing with us just recently during the Season 9 playtesting. So it'll be fun to see how he's playing the game. He is playing a Vader list, it looks like. We've got Darth Vader with Driven by Hatred. You don't see the card in his list because Vassal has a nice little trick where you see the Driven by Hatred card here. You can actually toggle it to show it as just a deployment card, and it updates his values. So he's 13 points instead of 18 and everything else, removing brutality and such. So that's how we'll be looking at Vader here. He's also got Thrawn, Elite Royal Guards, which were updated in Season 3. They actually had to get nerfed at the beginning of Season 4 because they were a little bit too strong. But here's what they look like now. And they still see some competitive play in their nerfed form, so that always makes me happy because we got a lot of flack from people when we nerfed them that were like so angry they thought they were terrible after that. But we're also seeing the new Imperial officer, which is 4 points instead of 5 points, and 2 regular officers. We've got Rule by Fear, Zillow Technique, and then we also have Unshakable and Doubt. So let's see, Unshakable is 1 point, and at the start of a friendly figure's activation, you can exhaust it to remove a harmful condition from a figure that costs 9 or more. So that will work on Vader. And then Doubt is at the end of each round. You can choose a hostile figure and remove a focus token or a power token from it. And you can also deplete it to force the attacker to re-roll while defending. And then Christian is playing a mercenary list with IG-88, the original IG, not IG-11 from ICP. This is the original. Let's see. He's not using the guild programming version, so let me pull up that version, because IG-88 also got an FFG update. You can see how, FFG was way ahead of us on these changing old figures to make them more playable. So here's Focused on the Kill, and you can also toggle it in Vassal. So here's what IG-88 looks like with his FFG upgrade. He's also playing the new Wookiee figure, Krrsantan, featured in Book of Boba Fett, which was introduced in Season 9 this season. So that's brand new. Another new figure, Fennec Shand, also from Book of Boba Fett, although I believe she is either from The Mandalorian or the Bad Batch or the Clone Wars. I can't remember which one she's originally from. And then we've also got MHD, the medical droid, the Rebel medical droid. And then 3PO R2D2, a regular Jawa and an elite Jawa. And the elite Jawa is how Christian is able to bring some of these rebel droids into his list without temporary alliance. So that's allowing MHD, R2D2, and C3PO to be played in this mercenary list. And let's get into it. Looks like Christian has initiative going first here, and has taken the blue deployment zone. I don't see Devious Scheme or anything, so I assume Christian chose the blue zone, and Cyklop is now in the red zone. It's interesting, I have seen a lot of players lately been picking the blue zone on this map. Originally I thought, looking at the data, that the red zone was favored, but it seems a lot of players like to be able to, from the blue zone, move up to this area, have the cache and the terminal, and have line of sight into the red player's deployment zone. So something interesting to note. As the game evolves and Waska has been out, Waska's actually at the end of its rotation cycle now. When we have our next rotation in 3 months, Waska's going to be rotating out. So it's interesting to think about how it's been almost a year that Waska's been in play now. Alright, so Cyklop resolving Rule by Fear lets him draw 2 cards at the start of the mission and has to discard a card. So discarded Dark Energy. And now activating the is that Elite Officer activating first? Yes. So Elite Officer activates first, moves the regular officer with his executive order. So able to move the full 4 spaces. The Elite Officer did not get nerfed like the regular officer did by FFG. And moves up to the terminal. So that's a nice play because this means that now this officer will be able to, when he activates, move over to this door and open it to be able to control this cache. Alright, 3PO activating for Christian. Going to focus Krrsantan and move not quite up to the door. And then we've got regular officer activating, pushes up one of the royal guards and also moves to the terminal. I will note that you are exposed here. Anything sitting in these spaces can be attacked very easily from the cache space. So that's something you want to think about. Now, officers are very disposable, of course, and they have cower with the white dice. So it's not a huge risk to do it, but if you guys have read my recent blog article about the ISP Training Grounds map, I don't believe in giving away free attacks anymore. I think that's one of the things that will really up your game as a skirmish player is in the early game, positioning your figures so that your opponent can't just take free attacks of opportunity against you without being punished for it. So I don't like putting figures there when I play on Waska. But anyway, back to the game. We've got, looks like R2-D2 was, let's see, was he able? Oh no! So Christian not able to draw with R2-D2 because the terminal is 5 spaces away from the blue deployment zone. That's one of the disadvantages of the blue deployment zone, and it looks like Christian didn't have any way to get R2 that 1 extra movement point he needed. So R2 just double moved onto the terminal, and Christian's not going to be up a card as you normally would be with R2. That's unfortunate because there's some very powerful cards he's digging for. He's looking for Blaze of Glory for IG-88, which is 2 points and basically Son of Skywalker. One of the things that makes IG-88 so powerful. And also Miracle Worker for MHD, which is MHD's unique command card that can basically stop a figure from dying within 3 spaces of MHD. So that is unfortunate. MHD moves up to the door. And then, let's see, did we not have an activation? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh yeah, so it looks like Cyklop is able to pass here. He was down in activation, even with Christian having the initiative. So Elite Jawa is going to move next to MHD and R2-D2. The Royal Guards are going to activate and move 1 up against the door and 1 by the terminal. I like this. I like keeping this door, keeping a space open next to a door. I see a lot of players will often just pile both figures up against this door, like 2 figures, and then they have no flexibility in who they can open the door with. So I think it's a really good idea, and maybe Cyklop is not going to do this. He might put Vader right here, but I think leaving a space open next to your door is a good idea. So that way you have flexibility in case you don't want to open it with one of the 2 figures you put next to the door. Because otherwise you can't open the door if you try to activate it with somebody else. So. Alright, Fennec Shand activating. Gonna move not quite up to the cache. Well, actually quite far away from the cache. So just up to the terminal. Christian has to be careful, even though he has the ranged attackers compared to Cyklop. Cyklop can always threaten with Force Choke with Vader. So if Christian just leaves somebody out in the open, Vader has infinite range his force choke as long as he gets line of sight. Okay, he's going to put Vader up against the door. So now only Vader or the Royal Guard can activate to open that door. Or he'd have to activate one of them, move them away from the door, and then have somebody else open the door. Alright, regular Jawa for Christian is going to open the far left door leading into the center and down to the cache, and then moves away. So now we're down to last activation for both. Oh no, last two activations. So we've got Thrawn and a regular officer, and Krrsantan and IG-88 for Christian. So it looks like Thrawn's going. I see some command cards moving from the top of the deck. So yeah, Thrawn activated. Oh, I remember I was watching this. We don't see it in the text, but I believe Cyklop actually looked at the top of Christian's deck and said, "Go ahead and keep it on top." So we're not going to see a card get discarded here. So it must have been Cyklop must have really thought that was a bad card to leave it on top, because normally it just default you discard the top card of your opponent's deck. It means they might draw less cards that game. All their cards are one of, so every card you deprive them of, deprives them of a card for the whole game. There's no duplicates for the most part, most of the time. And there's no Dr. Aphra to fish it out, which is another reason. That's a reason you might not want to use to discard something with Thrawn, is if you're going to give Aphra a target for her excavate, but we don't have Dr. Aphra in this game, so. But yeah, it must have just been really bad. So we've got IG-88 activating for Christian, and he's going to move all the way down, standing next to the door so he could open the door with an action, and he is controlling the cache as well. But the officer is just going to say, you know what, I can open the door too. I wonder if it would have been better for Christian to wait for IG-88 to be the last activation there. But Krrsantan's going to move. Oh no, I see why he did that. Although the officer was the last activation for Cyklop, so that Krrsantan could have moved out and controlled the cache completely safely, because Cyklop did not leave a threatening final activation to threaten it with. So, but it's interesting how that played out. I don't think it really mattered that much. Krrsantan is going to take 1 damage from the mission rules for Watch Your Step, which is as soon as you enter difficult terrain once per round, a non-mobile figure has to suffer a strain. So he took 1 damage on IG-88 and 1 on Krrsantan. So Christian moving very aggressively here, and does not have initiative going into round 2 unless he can take initiative through. Interestingly, the officer being there unfortunately blocks force choke by Vader targeting IG-88, but he is going to use Driven by Hatred anyway to let's get rid of some of these, to move at the end of the round, move 2 spaces, so moving closer to IG-88 here. And then Christian is ahead on VPs, gains 4 VPs from the cache in the middle, and then they are contesting the cache at the bottom left. Nobody controlling the cache on the top right though. Christian being very cagey, not wanting to put any figures out in danger to be shot at by Thrawn on the cache. And the initiative is moving towards Cyklop here. If I can get this initiative token to move over. Okay, there we go. And that was odd. Okay, so initiative is back to Cyklop. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit here. There we go. Now I can see better. Okay, there's the take initiative. Oh, hold on. Take initiative is being played by. Oh, okay. So for some, I don't know why we had the initiative token by Christian. So it looks like Cyklop actually had initiative in round 1 and chose the red deployment zone, and then it went back to Krrsantan. So that makes a lot more sense. Krrsantan thought he was going to have initiative here with IG-88, so I think he thought that's why he positioned him so aggressively. And now Cyklop has just played Take Initiative. He has exhausted an officer and now has the initiative token and is going to activate the Royal Guards. Okay, apologies everybody, I did not have the right initiative there on round 1. But yeah, going to activate the Royal Guards. Makes sense to go with the guards instead of Vader here, because the guards can stun. So if he can stun IG-88, he could make it a lot harder for Krrsantan to try and escape. Although IG-88 can still move 7 with just a single movement. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He'd only be able to get here. And then Cyklop could very easily open the door and then pursue IG-88 through the door. So actually, yeah, IG-88's in trouble. If he gets stunned here, he's going to be in big trouble. Even if he has drawn Blaze, it's going to take him 2 activations to escape. So, okay, there's the roll. We've got the surge to get the stun. Oh, but he doesn't. Oh, they have Pierce 1. Yep, so we're going to stun and do 1 damage with the Pierce 1. Second Royal Guard group is going to come up and attack. Search for +2. He could reroll. They do have Professional. But it looks like he's just going to go for keep the damage he's got. So that's going to be 5, Pierce 1. So 4 damage, and we'll also gain a Surge Cancel Evade token. Evade Power token, I should say. Okay, there we go. So there the initiative has moved. I did move the scorecards around a little bit to make it easier to zoom in and still see them. So, okay, so Krrsantan going to activate IG-88, removes the stun, and is just going to go for the attack here, attacking the Royal Guard. Nice roll, but the evade token is going to stop the search for +2 there, unfortunately. Ooh, but he's got the Assassinate. He also dealt 1 damage with Relentless. So we're going to play Assassinate there for, wow, 7 damage. They do have 10 health though, so not going to defeat the Elite Royal Guards. And then uses the 2 movement points to get away, to try and move away. But it looks like Vader is now going to activate and going to move up and go for the attack on IG-88. Ooh, good roll on the red. Arguably not a great roll on the black. Although if there were less surges, it actually would be pretty good. But looks like we're going to be seeing 7 damage into IG-88 here. And now if he has Blaze, this is where he needs to play it to double move out of there. But he's going to activate Fennec instead. And going to take a shot on the officer. Let's see. This is the regular officer, so only has 3 health. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So doing 5 damage right now. Gonna reroll with the officer. Oh, he's still doing 3 damage, but now a Zillow Technique discard could actually save this officer. And yep, we're gonna see. Is he gonna do it? Yeah, he's gonna. So Cyclops gonna discard Force Rush to Zillow Technique to add +1 block. And that is going to allow that officer to survive the attack there. Okay, the officer activates and... Oh, is it the officer that activated? Yes, officer activates and moves out of danger. Okay, R2 going to draw a card for Krrsantan. And now Thrawn's going to activate. So we're going to look at the top cards. And looks like he discarded Fleet-Footed from the top of Krrsantan's deck. And he gave himself a Surge token. And Vader a block token. And now is attacking Fennec with the Surge token. Oh, the evade on there is going to stop that Surge for +3 damage. So that was pretty big evade roll. So he's only going to be doing... He's still going to be doing 4 damage though, so that's pretty good. but would have been 7 or maybe 6 damage, depending on if Fennec had rolled something besides the evade. Alright, MHD is going to activate, going to move up and heal 3 damage from Fennec, and hopefully he's got Miracle Worker. Did Cyklop pass? Yeah, it looks like Cyklop is passing there. So Krrsantan going to come up and go for Thrawn. So performs the attack on Thrawn. There we go. Let's get rid of that. So we've got Pierce 1 built in as well as Bleed built in. Although looks like Zillow Technique is being exhausted, so that's going to make it Pierce 0. So it looks like we're doing 3 damage here to Thrawn. And Bleed, and there's Disarm. So now that Krrsantan has inflicted the Bleed status on Thrawn with his attack, he can use his Disarm command card. So he basically took off Thrawn's arm, I guess. That's going to deal an additional damage and weaken Thrawn, and then now that Wall Disarm is active, Thrawn cannot discard the weakened condition until he's dead. Not even until Krrsantan's dead, just for the rest of the mission. Thrawn is permanently weakened, which is pretty good against Thrawn because of that double stage for +3 damage. And now also going to use the Electrified Knuckle Dusters to deal 1 more damage. Okay, and then officers activating. So this is the elite officer, and it looks like he is going to be giving Vader an attack with executive order. I do enjoy the elite officers and how they really promote Imperial lists that use them to go tall instead of going wide, because I think we see a lot of that in IACP now. Players going wide with their list building, having lots of 3-dice attackers, and I think with the officers it kind of lets you do that, but it has you wanting to do it with a very expensive figure like Vader or ATDP or ATST or something. So it kind of has that going tall effect, which makes for interesting variety in list building. So anyway, so Vader just attacked and finished off IG-88. So that's going to be 12 points for Cyklop. And that is a big get. Christian still has Fennec, still has Krrsantan, but he's got to deal with Vader still. He's almost finished off Royal Guard and Thrawn, but Vader's going to be a challenge without IG-88 to really pump out the damage into Vader. Alright, so 3PO going to focus up the Jawa here. And then Elite Jawa is going to activate and open the door to the middle, and is going to move to control the middle cache. And now we see the regular Jawa double moving over to the terminal. And so at least Christian is winning on the objective game here, but it is pretty bad to lose your queen piece that soon. So Christian going to get 8 VPs from the objectives. And Cyklop going to get 4, putting the score at 12-16 in Cyklop's favor. Vader going to use his end of round ability to force choke 3PO for 3 damage. And it looks like we're starting off with Christian having initiative, and going to activate Krrsantan here. Going for Thrawn. So he does have the Pierce 1, but Zillow's going to stop the Pierce. So that's 3 damage into Thrawn, who's going to discard a card to Zillow Technique to add a block, it looks like. But the Knuckle Duster ability is going to finish him off with the 2 damage he needed exactly. So that is why Cyklop discarded there. He wasn't going to die from that attack, but it was going to leave him on 1 health, which meant Knuckle Dusters was going to probably kill him. So Cyklop was being proactive there, discarded to Zillow Technique to force Knuckle Duster roll to be, I think there's only a 1 in, no, I think there's a 2 in 6, so 1 in 3 chance of 2 dice, versus I think there's a 4 or 5 in 6 chance of getting 1 damage. So Cyklop trying to manipulate the odds to be better in his favor for Thrawn to survive, but Krrsantan able to get that double damage roll on the dice with the Knuckle Dusters there to finish off Thrawn. Oh, and he's got the celebration too, so he's gonna get it. It looks like no negation for Cyklop, so gonna get 10 points from Thrawn there. Goes to 22, and then Krrsantan able to retreat back to the cache, blocks line of sight to Fennec, and now within the protective aura of MHD's medical worker. So officer going to activate, going to take a shot at the Jawa, it looks like. 1, 2, 3. No, that's not going to make range. Oh, he does have a surge for accuracy, I guess. So 2 damage to the Jawa. I'm surprised Krrsantan didn't use the Jawa's take cover there. I think he may have forgotten. But Jawas do have a built-in +1 block with take cover, so he should have only taken 1 damage there. And now the Jawa is going to move through the swamp, taking a damage, strain as damage. Going to try and finish off this officer here with 1 health. And he's playing Element of Surprise to remove the white dice. And yep, that's going to take it out. 2 more points, although he's sacrificing 3 points with that elite Jawa. Okay, the elite officer used executive order to bring the royal guard up to the terminal. MHG is going to activate, going to heal. Oh, he's going to go and heal the elite Jawa. I thought he would heal Krrsantan there. Interesting. 3PO going to activate to focus up the regular Jawa, and now the regular officer is going to use his order ability to move Vader closer to the center of the map. R2-D2 going to draw a card for Krrsantan. I think he also healed 3PO. Yep, he used service to heal 3PO from the force choke damage from the end of the last round. Alright, Royal Guard's going to activate. Go to attack. Ooh, are we attacking Fennec or Krrsantan here? I would imagine Fennec. Yeah, going for the attack on Fennec. Gonna reroll. Nice reroll. That's going to be 3, 4, 5, Pierce 1, and Stun. So 5 Pierce 1 and Stun. And gets an Evade power token. And then the other Royal Guard, gonna stand on the cache there, but he's only got 1 health left, so it's an interesting play by Cyklop. He's basically sacrificing that Royal Guard. He could have kept it back and just used it to stand behind the officers and given them +1 block. So I'm not sure about I'm not sure about that one. So the regular Jawa is gonna move through the swamp here. It's a strain as a card. Discards take initiative from the top of Krrsantan's deck. And a focused attack into the Royal Guard here. Ah, so that must have been Cyclops' plan. We see Dying Lunge being played, so it was a trap. Cyclop wanted that Royal Guard to die so he could play Dying Lunge. And he is close enough that he could move to attack Krrsantan here if he wanted to. And that's what he's going to do. Yeah, that's a black die, so let's see, we're looking at 5 damage, Pierce 1 against 3 blocks. Oh, he's going for the stun instead, so 3 Pierce 1 and stun on Krrsantan. So 1 damage and stun, and then the Royal Guard goes down. But Krrsantan is winning the VP race pretty handily here, 29-16, even without taking out Vader. Let's see, who moved down? So Vader activating now, moves on to the objective in the middle. Gonna just attack this Jawa. Rerolls. I mean, that Jawa is definitely dead. So now Cyklop controlling that center objective. But Fennec has the last activation here. Oh, uh-oh. Fennec moved too far and triggered Parting Blow from the Royal Guard there. She had kind of a rough spot. Oh, she stops the surge though, so at least she won't get stunned. Ooh, ouch, but the Royal Guard rerolls into the triple damage. has a Pierce 1, so that's going to be 3 damage into Fennec, who only has 8 health. Though it looks like they're forgetting about the +1 block. So I think she would actually take 2, but she should still die there. I wonder if they've been applying that +1 block, though. That should have been applied. Miracle Worker, though, she's still within range of Miracle Worker, which is MHD's command card. 2 points whenever a figure within 3 spaces of MHD would be defeated. Instead, it recovers 3 damage. So she's actually going to recover down to 5 damage. And then the Royal Guard becomes stunned from parting blow. Alright, so Fennec manages to survive there. Going to continue her movement and goes for the attack on the officer down here by the terminal. I think this was kind of rough for Fennec because she couldn't really get line of sight to anything that was 5 or more spaces away, which is how she triggers her self-focusing ability. She started up here. So if she attacked Vader from like here, 1, 2, 3, that's 4 spaces. She could have gone 1, 2, 3, 4 and attacked from here. But I don't think Krrsantan's trying to attack Vader. I think at this point it's so late that any attack you put into Vader is going to be useless. She could have gone up to here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She could have actually gone to here and attacked the Royal Guard, but decides to go for the officer attack. I think this might have been the last round, so maybe that explains it as well. You know, right? You know, if it's the last round and this is the last activation, then she wants Fennec to. Krrsantan wants Fennec to try and get a kill if possible. All right, so Fennec's gonna go for the attack on the officer here. All right, so we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Pierce 1, but Zilla's still available, so it's gonna be 7. -1 block, so that's 6 damage. So even with Zillow, the officer should down here. So yeah, I'm gonna stop the Pierce. Oh, it's gonna discard Iron Will to Zillow technique. Oh right, because they have 6 health. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So actually, yeah, that's right. Because they have 6 health and not 5 anymore. Zillow technique is going to allow the officer to survive there. And I think actually, because even 6 damage against Zillow is a lot for Fennec to hope for. I think, if I remember correctly, when I was spectating this, Krrsantan thought that it was a regular officer, or got confused about the health. So because there was the regular officer still alive, but it's down here, and it actually got exhausted for take initiative this round, I believe. So is that the last round? Oh, they're drawing cards. Cyklop goes up to gets 8 points here because he's contesting this objective, so he's controlling 2. Goes up to 26. Vader's gonna come up and attack Krrsantan. And this is where I feel like that healing the Jawa instead of Krrsantan there was a bit questionable. So Krrsantan had 3 damage on him. This is end of round attack with Vader. So there's Vader with his end of round attack. Remove the yellow die. He does get the +1 damage still, so we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. +1 is 7. -2, so 5 damage to Krrsantan. Yeah, so Krrsantan takes 5. Okay, so it looks like we do have one more round. So elite officer that survived is going to activate, going to move up and takes a card as strain so that he can use executive order on Vader here to attack Krrsantan once again. Going to re-roll. Does have the +1. We got to remember that's still there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, Pierce 3. And yeah, he's going to do 8 damage, and Krrsantan has 15 health. So the heal, if MHD had healed Krrsantan instead of that Jawa, he would have survived that. But Krrsantan is going to go down here, and that's going to put Cyklop at 34 points. And more importantly, Christian no longer has Krrsantan's activation this round to help him get the points he needs to push him to 40. He would need to kill the officer and the Royal Guard. But even that would only put him at 39. Okay, an officer moves back. Fennec's going to activate. Going to finish off the officer here. Goes to 33 and going to run to the deployment zone to Cyclops' deployment zone. Royal Guard's going to activate. Going to attack the Jawa. Jawa dies anyway, even with the healing from MHD. And MHD activates, and it's going to run away to the cache, but not controlling the cache on the bottom left. That leaves Vader to finish off 3PO with a Force Choke, uses Price of Glory to move back to the middle objective, and R2-D2 is going to activate, and that's going to be the end. Cyclops got the victory points from the objectives here, since he controls all 3, and is the winner. Very close game, even despite that, but I do think that the smallest thing, healing the Jawa with MHD instead of healing Krrsantan, I think was the tipping point, absolutely, because otherwise Krrsantan could have gotten the kill on the Royal Guard and stunned it, and perhaps kept it from finishing off Fennec, something like that. But that was a good game. I'm glad we got to see that one, and stay tuned. We've got one more game coming up from round 1 of the tournament, and then next week we'll be looking at the games from round 2. So thanks everybody for watching, and we'll catch you for the next one.